Join me, 48 Hours correspondent Erin Moriarty, on my podcast, My Life of Crime, as I take on true crime investigations like no other. This season, I'm looking into the labyrinth of crime and secrets within families. I'm cutting straight to the evidence and talking to the people directly involved, including investigators and the families of victims. Listen to My Life of Crime with Erin Moriarty wherever you get your podcasts.
Alright, what's up guys? Welcome to another episode of the TMossBoss show, and in today's episode, it's crazy to think like in 8 days, it'll be, the day that XXXTENTACION passed away. And if you guys know, I was a big fan of him when he was alive. I mean, I still listen to his music today. It's one of those things where it's like anytime when you see any new things surrounding his name, whether it's his team re-releasing his music or even the documentary and all, anything that's like new about him that I haven't heard or known of, then it's like it's always something I'm jumping up to see what it is, because I'm still that same guy I was like back in 2016 all the way up until his death, and I'm still that fan, so it just doesn't necessarily matter like how long it's been. I just know that he's one of those guys where it's like, if people ever ask me about him, it's like I'm gonna just be like any other fan, and I'm gonna just tell them a story about this guy, because I mean, you could go, and it's not like I'm going to say anything to, make him seem like he's, the greatest of all time or the worst of all time. I'm going to be talking about him as if he's, just pretty much what I know, and, it's like, so actually I wanted to talk on numerous things, I wanted to talk on the documentary, because I don't think I did talk on the documentary that they came out with a while ago. By the way, it was a good documentary. What I didn't like, though, was that people were getting on his team for, not having enough of him. And it's like, well, fam, he did pass away. I don't know what else they can necessarily do besides gather up people that was, there during his career and, tell a story. So, and that's how, I feel like, so here's the thing. So there's this TV show, and they have, a bunch of these, episodes of, documentaries on, old, R&B singers and all that stuff. I think they do some rappers, but I think they more so do, 80s, some, around that time, with, R&B singers. But, it's this TV show called Unsung. I've seen so many different episodes of that show, where, and it's, it's just one, because I didn't know any of those artists. I was just sitting down watching that show because my mom was watching it. So when you will watch that show, it's a lot of the times, the artists that they had talked on was they're gone. So for an example, if they were to talk on Zapp and Rogers, it's fam, they're not here to tell their story. The only, the people that was there during their career are the only ones that can tell it. So that's how I was kind of seeing XXXTentacion's documentary, was it's his friends, family, his people he worked with, just all coming together and talking about him. So, that's when people were, going off about that. It's fam, well, what are they supposed to do? Travel back in time and try to record more? It's come on now. It's people, please. I ain't even hearing it. I like the documentary. I went out and got Hulu all over again just so I can watch the documentary. And, it was good. It's definitely I definitely recommend watching it. And, overall, just, seeing, I guess if there's, unanswered questions, then, I feel like that documentary, or if you just want to, reminisce on his, career and stuff, then, it's, either way, it's, whether it's you're a new fan or an old fan, I feel like this documentary is for, any and everybody. So, it was good from beginning, all the way. Well, I mean, when it got to the end, it was just sad because, you knew what they were going to talk about, and it was, of course, his, death. And it's crazy to think, like, I still remember, like, and from my point of view, I still remember that day, because it's a day, like, that stood out more than any other day, like, throughout that time frame and stuff. And it's like, because it's like the first day of you really, like, dealing with something. So, like, I feel like that you're never going to forget that first day of really dealing with something. I can't tell you, like, how or what day it was when, you know, I kind of just, like, not so much as, like, put him behind me, but just kind of, like, start feeling better about the situation, you know, where it's like, okay, well, he is in a better place, like, you know, he ain't here suffering on Earth and dealing with Earth problems, like, you know, he's in a better place. And yeah, overall, it was like, just like getting like and I think it was more so that, like, accepting that he's no longer here with us, rather than like, dang, I wish this was a dream, I wish this was over with. Like, you know, you just kind of like keep thinking on the situation. Like, it's you know, it was tough. It was definitely tough, like that time frame when he had passed away. I had to say it was probably like that next year, I had to say I started like accepting the situation and stuff. So, but yeah, I still remember June 18th, 2018. That's a day I don't think any X fan would forget. So, and, you know, and I think I did tell the story before, but it's like, you know, to like word for word tell the story all over again, because I know people probably would ask me, like, where were you, or what were you doing the day he passed? So I was getting off of work. And it's crazy how, like, you can remember, like, it's like almost as like watching a video. Like, you can remember, like, that whole day. I had to say, like, the night, that night was a little bit hazy and stuff, but I still remember that whole day. Like, it was, and I think, honestly, that night, all I was just doing was, like, scrolling through social media, seeing if there was, like, any new things about the situation. So I think that's what I might have been doing that night. But anyways, so I remember, and the thing is, like, I remember, I think it was that morning, I was listening to his music. I listened to his music, like, every single day. So I was, like, always, it was just, you know, some music to hype me up, get me through the day, keep it going, you know, so on and so on. So, anyways, I remember, alright, so, like, pretty much starting from when I was getting off work, like, leading all the way up until when I seen the news. So anyways, I remember I left. I remember I was, like, cracking some jokes with my coworkers. And, I mean, like, you know, we always do that. But it just, like, for some, like, reason, it kind of felt, like, odd. It felt different. I don't know. Maybe I'm just saying that because of that day, you know, what happened and things. And honestly, it was just like any other normal day. So, like, that's the weird thing about it. It was like any other normal day, but it was just kind of, like, odd, you know, like leading up to it and stuff. And so I walked to the bus stop. And yeah, you know, because like in Seattle, working in Seattle, like you waiting for a bus, like depending on what bus you're getting. And I got the bus where it's like, fam, if you see your bus, you better chase it down. So it wasn't even that though. Like I remember I was just walking to the bus stop. And yeah, I was just standing there waiting and things, listening to music. I can't remember what music I was listening to. I don't think I was listening to X or anything, but anyways, so that was one thing that I did kind of find strange, was that I pulled my phone out. And I usually don't do that at the bus stop. I get, like, you know, my music and all that stuff, like, situated out. And I'm just standing there just waiting for the bus. I don't pull my phone out for nothing. But for that day, I pulled my phone out. I don't know why I did. I can't remember, like, what was, you know, the special occasion, but I pulled my phone out. Unless, like, I'm getting a message, call, whatever. But other than that, never pulled my phone out. So I pulled my phone out, and I think I went on Instagram first. I remember I went on Instagram, and I think the first post that I seen was Ski Mask, and the post that he made about X. So I was just thinking it was just, you know, him showing love to X. I didn't realize what he was posting, you know. So I seen that post and was just like, hey, you know, that's cool that he posted that and things. And then I think the more I kept scrolling and then that's eventually when I had saw the news that he was, and I can't remember whether I had seen the post. I think that was the first post that I seen, was that he had died. And then I seen another post where he was like, he's in critical condition or whatever they were saying and stuff. And and I don't know, like I kind of have like my ill feelings towards that and stuff. But anyways, so I remember I seen that post where they say he died, and then I remember I think I seen the post where they say he was in critical condition. And then when I seen the video of him in his car, then that's when it was like, whoa, like wait, like just wait a minute, hold on, time out. Like, like when you see the two posts, it's like, you don't really know. But then when you see the video, like that is traumatizing. Like it still traumatizes me till this day, where it's like I can't get rid of that image, and so I was like, I wouldn't necessarily say I was crying, but like I was distraught. Like I was just straight up out of it. And I remember a customer, he came up to me, and this is a customer that I was chilled with, but he came up, he was just like, oh, hey, what's up, man? And I was like, so like just out of it. I'm like, fam, like, I'm sorry, but it was, there's an artist that I listened to, he just passed away. And he was like, oh, man, I'm sorry to hear that. And I don't know if he was a fan of him or not. But, I mean, because, like, I don't know. Like, I really don't know who was a fan of him. But anyways, no, because I think I think that customer, he more so, I think that was the same customer. He wear, like, an Ice Cube shirt. So, I don't know. Maybe he was a fan of older music. Maybe he didn't know who he was. I don't know. But I just remember, like, being just so out of it and was like, fam, like, after that, once when, I seen all that stuff go down, so I was on the bus, and I remember I was extremely close to crying, because I did feel like tears forming up in my eyes, and I was like, fam, I'm about to start crying on this bus. And it's crazy, because I know people will be thinking, like, I'm friends with X. I seen X live in concert, like, me and him, we've had some sort of communication before. I've never talked to this man. I've never had no communication with him. I've never been to any of his shows, concerts, whatever you want to call it. There was nothing between me and him. The only thing that was between me and him was me listening to his music. And it's crazy to think, like, how much of an effect that a person's death, like, this was kind of like having a family member die, because you listen to them so frequently, you hear their pain, you hear their words, it's things that you can relate to. It's almost as if like we were friends, like, even though I didn't know him and he didn't know me, it was like he put out music, I listened to it. And so it's crazy to think that that's how much of a death has an effect on you. And yeah, like, I remember I was on the bus and I almost started crying, because it was like, fam, like, this is real. Like, this isn't no dream. This isn't no, like, nothing. This is some real stuff right here. And so I remember I was at the bus stop, because I think I couldn't even really listen to his music. Like, it was just kind of hard to, like, listen to his music at that time, because I'm like, fam, like, no, man, like, this can't, at that time being, I'm like, this can't be real. This cannot be real. This cannot be real. I am trying my hardest to not accept it, but it's like, you have no other choice. Like, that's the only choice that you have, is accepting it. So I'm like I said, out of it. And I remember I was, because I had to catch two buses to go home. So once I got on the second bus, then I got off that bus, started walking home, and then at that point, I remember there was this like, I think he was a kid, I don't know, like, it was just some random guy, because me and him, we were walking in the same direction. And you don't usually just talk to, like, I usually just don't start up a conversation or start talking with random people, but I turned around and I looked at him, and it was just like, did you hear about XXXTENTACION? And he shook his head, and he was just like, yeah. And that was like, I think the first and last time I ever had talked with that guy. But I was like, that's how, like, destroying it was, to where it was like I had to talk to somebody about it. And so, yeah, it was tough. And then I think I remember I had, actually, you know what? No, I think it was like some days after that, because it was a tough situation. Like, when you hear somebody like die and things, it's like tough to accept that. Like me, I had already had like death. It wasn't like this is my first time dealing with death. Like I've had friends and family members, pass away. And yeah, one of my friends, he passed away due to like gun violence and all that stuff. So it was yeah, so it was like it was just one of those things where it's like it was it put you like right back in that state of like, you know, when I had like, I lost my two grandfathers, I lost my friend and stuff, and it put me right back in that mental state to where it's like I'm just depressed. And so I actually, you know, no. So going back on the day of, so I remember I got home and yeah, it was, you know, just seeing more and more news about it and stuff. So I think that video, it might still be up, but I remember I posted a video and was talking on the situation, and it was like just overall like, you know, posting, letting people know like, hey, like if you're a fan of him and you need somebody to talk to, like feel free to use my comment sections, like, you know, just overall just being there for the fans, because I feel like that I'm not like, no, I ain't gonna consider myself no high-ranking fan. Like, there's probably fans out there that was, you know, going to all his shows, listening to all his music. Like, I barely had heard any of his music. I had to say it wasn't until, like, after he passed, that's when I started hearing more of his songs on SoundCloud. And so, because at that time, I was just only listening to the music that I had heard on Spotify and stuff. So, anyways, there was like maybe a few songs I had heard from SoundCloud of his before he passed. But anyway, so yeah, I do remember I was overall like made that video. And then another thing that I did was that like with my mom, when she came home, I had like I went outside and had told her and stuff, and I usually don't do that. You know, usually she comes in the house, I'm probably in my room taking a nap or recording videos or whatever. And yeah, I usually, because I couldn't sleep, I only could record that one video. I couldn't do nothing else. And I was like, fam, like, because this is a hard thing to accept. And so, yeah, I had told her. She didn't really, like, know too much about him. I had to say she didn't really start knowing about him until after he had passed, because I was telling her so much about him and things. So, anyways, I think I can't remember if it was that day or if it was 2 days later, where I had messaged, there's a close friend of mine. I'm pretty sure everybody remembers my friends. I used to promote them a lot, Four Souls. And so the oldest sister, in that, YouTube group, Priscilla, I had messaged her because it was like still like kind of hard to accept. And so I had messaged her and was just overall like letting her know like how much I cared about her. Cause it's like, this is like one of the she's like, probably like top tier like close friend, like because she's somebody that's like super supportive of me and content creating and all of that. So it was like this was like the one person I had to say I was talking to so much frequently at that time. And so I was like, I just remember it was like that conversation, or I just remember like messaging her and let her know, or actually no, I think what it was is I think I did message her the day of and was overall like let her know like how much she means to me, because I'm like, I'm sitting here thinking like life is short, like we could be gone at any given second. And then I think it was like 2 days after that, I think I had made like a post on social media and things, just overall letting people know like how much of a good friend she is, like overall how supportive she is and stuff. So yeah, it was a lot going on with that. Then of course, when they announced that they caught his killers and things, I was happy about that. And yeah, because I was like, so here's the thing. Now I want to start kind of like talking on that whole situation, because, and I think that's, after I had, and I know people would probably be thinking like, you're going based off of a movie, like, like you can't compare a movie to reality. But I wanted to just talk on a few things about that. Talk on a few things about his killer. So when they had said that he was in critical condition, the thing is like a part of me wants to believe that, but then another part of me doesn't really believe that. Like I like if they did, get a pulse back, then I see, because I don't know how that stuff overall like works and things, but I would imagine that like based off of what people were saying about him when he passed and when he died, based off of like what it sounds like that he died instantly. And that, and then I'm guessing like the amount of time it took, the paramedics to get there. I don't know how long it took them to get there. And plus it didn't look like anybody was really trying to, help him. Because, everybody was sitting there recording. I personally think that they didn't get no pulse. And obviously, they're not going to, when his fans are gathering and showing up, they're not going to, put a tarp over him and then just be like, because they probably knew like he's a celebrity, so like let's hurry up and get his body, up out of here, so like people aren't going crazy about it and stuff. Because me personally, I feel like that if fans would have knew that he was gone and that they didn't get no pulse, then I think I think if they knew that he had been gone, I think them fans probably would have been like really going wild and crazy and stuff, and been trying to like run up and try to like take things in their own hands or do whatever and stuff. So I think that's why, like, it would probably, in a situation like that where you're dealing with this, because, like, in any other situation where you hear people get shot, you see, like, immediately at that point in time, if there ain't nobody gathering up there, they'll just pronounce at the scene that that person was, deceased. And I feel like with him, because, like, more and more fans was gathering up and things, I feel like that they had, they overall was like, you know what, let's, go and announce it when we get to the hospital, and so on. And so, anyways, that's what I personally think. If they did manage to get a pulse, then it's like, and I guess like his injuries was just too far gone, and it was, it was a messed up situation. But and then with his killers, like, now I want to like overall talk on that, because I personally think his killers are some of the most dumbest people ever. You searched his name up on your phone. So it was like, when you guys get caught, they're going to obviously look through the phones. So there's that. The two guys, they walked in, stared at him, was looking at him. And it's like, what makes you, because my thing is this, if they go through all, because we only just seen the camera footage from the dealership. I'm pretty sure the investigators or whoever it was that has control over that stuff, I'm pretty sure they were looking at all these different cameras and all these different videos and things where they can obviously see these guys, because from what it sounds like, they were following him. So I'm guessing they probably seen the same car that they were driving all over the place, following him, tracking him down, so on and so on. And that's how they caught them. And it's like, fam, like, come on now. Like, how did you guys expect to not get caught? Because, like, it even confused me when they had announced that they caught the first guy. I'm like, fam, how did they, like, because, wait a minute. And then when they said, like, 4 people was behind it, I'm like, wait a minute, time out. I'm like, why were there so many people behind it? Then there was like, the 2 guys that was scoping them out, and then the 2 that actually had shot and killed, I think it was the one that shot and killed them. The other one was just holding a gun and stuff. But I was all like, I was like, once I seen all that, I was like, dang, wow. So, and then when they released the video, it was like, these guys, man, it's like, that's just, I don't even get that. It's like, that's the thing where it's like, people, just go out, get a job, work for the things that you want. But when you do things like that, guess what's going to happen? You're going to get arrested. Especially in this day and age where technology, like investigating technology is so advanced that not one single... I'm saying if they're catching like the most quietest people, like people that you wouldn't even like, you would think like, oh, there ain't no way of catching them, like there ain't no way possible. I'm saying like if there's that, because even I remember when the one rapper Pop Smoke, when he passed, and it was like, okay, it sounds like that they're never gonna catch those guys, because I'm like, if they ain't have like no security videos, or actually no, that's what it sounded like. I was like, they're most likely gonna never catch those guys. But I remember they said that because of the pandemic, it's hard to, figure out who it was that killed Pop Smoke. So I was like, okay, like that. But then once when they announced that they caught him, and then the guys had admitted to it and all that stuff and told what had happened, I was like, fam, that's why it's like, people need to understand that, like, investigators, that is literally their job, is to investigate a situation and track down whoever killed who. So that's why it's things like that where it's like, come on, people, like, y'all gotta be smarter than that. So anyways, it's just, it's crazy to sit down and think that, people, like, I mean, like I said, go out, get a job, instead of, like, trying to, like, do things, like, not even, because I'm like, that ain't even an easy way of doing things. Like, you're putting yourself in a harder situation when you do stuff like that. So that's why it's like, people, come on now. It's like, don't sit here and mess up somebody else's life to benefit your life. There ain't no, like, because to me, it's like, it's only going to be bad for you at the end of the day. So it's either going to be a situation where you're going to get caught, or it's going to be that good old Bible quote, you live by the sword, you die by the sword. Overall meaning, you go around shooting and killing people, you gonna end up right next to them being shot and killed. So I'm saying, it's like it's stuff like that where it's like, people, you gotta do things the right way, because if not, then yeah, it's like I'm saying, if you do things the right way, you ain't gonna ever have to worry about getting arrested, getting, people like whatever. It's like, you just do things the right way, you ain't got nothing to worry about. All right, so anyways, but yeah, it's just, it's still like years later, like what, 2018, 19, 21, 22, 4 years later. It's crazy to think, like, 4 years later, it's like, hey, his death still has an effect on people, me included. So yeah, rest in peace, XXXTENTACION. Like, you're still, like, 4 years later, like, you still missed by him. Obviously, your family, your friends, your fans, supporters, everybody. So, but yeah. And that being said, talk to y'all later. Thank you guys for hearing me out in this episode, and peace.